one of the first things to do in planning, besides cable paths and thinking about that stuff, is an input list. And here you can see in my hands I have an input list and a stage plot. This one's been written on a little bit, so it looks a little funky, but maximum that I have from rehab is 25 inputs from stage. But the Snake accommodates 40 mic inputs. So there's no point in worrying. We have plenty of extra channels left. But normally, if you were really filling the console up, one thing that you would do at this stage would be to write down all of your inputs and start thinking about how you could share different things between different bands. We're lucky enough in front of the house to have a digital console, so the sharing of channels isn't a problem. In the old days, back in the good old analog days, if you had an analog console, you'd have to look carefully at each input strip and write down all of its settings. And it was quite tedious and very hard to get a channel strip back into the same exact position that it needed to be that you had at sound check, if it's been changed for another band. In the modern era here with digital consoles, we simply say, take a snapshot of all the settings on the console, then do whatever is necessary to adjust for the next band, and then again take a snapshot of that. So it's very easy to recall your settings that way. So what we'll do at Monitor World today is we'll learn about how to do a patch around. When it comes time to designate channels for the opening act, we'll determine what channels that we can share on the console, on the analog console, and what channels are still remaining. And we'll patch around stuff that we don't want to change and use empty channels that were unused in the headliner's requirements. And we call that patching around. So it's essential to label everything carefully on stage. All the cabling has to be labeled, all of your inputs have to be labeled, and we need to create basically a graph of inputs so that we carefully correlate one input to the next when we change them, so that after the opening act is done, it's very easy to come back, change your patch back to what the headliner's input list is, and then you have a high level of confidence that it's all going to work when the headliner starts.